Hello and welcome to the United Stand. It is our Manchester United versus Tottenham preview. I've got Anna, who's a Tottenham fan, if you remember from last season. She gave us the banter and they did deliver. Many Manchester United fans think that Spurs might deliver at the weekend. I don't. But positively, Pogba's back. Pogba's back. Bailly's back. Phil Jones is back. But I don't know whether, well, I say Pogba's back. There's a slim chance he might play. He's back in training today at Carrington, but we'll wait and see. But Anna, I'll start with you as my guest. You're very welcome on the United Stand.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Well, let's start off with it. Are you confident about your chances at Old Trafford on Saturday lunchtime?
Confidence is a strong word. Don't know if I can ever really truly be that confident. So I'm going to start actually with my prediction. I think it's going to be a draw, because Mourinho likes to set up relatively defensively against top six sides. I know a stat I saw on the Monday Night Football, for example, that his last 10 games against top six sides, he's only scored one goal, which was against us, that 2-1, that final game at the Lane.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. And obviously we know the Liverpool result, for example. Our away record is really good in the league as well, and in the Champions League as well. So in that respect, I am confident. We might have an issue. Apparently, Kane may or may not feature. That's unconfirmed. If he features, then that's a huge bonus. And then I will feel more confident. If he doesn't, then less so. Yeah. I'm not saying we heavily rely on him. I think there are a lot of players who are key to our system and the way it works. Name our defence, for example. The back three have been amazing this season. Obviously, Lloris in goal as well. Our midfielders as well. Eriksen makes us tick. So in general, it's not just Kane, but obviously up front, at the end of the day, you do need someone to score goals. So I'm a bit tentative, but in general, I feel like I hope it's going to go a bit better than previous years.
Well, I mean, I'm happy about that, because there's a lot of United fans who are worried about Spurs, and I am, but I'll speak about it in a minute. I do think United are going to win, and I'll explain why in a minute. And we will talk about Kane, Lukaku, because I think their careers do mirror each other a lot, and this season they've sort of took it up a level. They're doing it in the Champions League and everything like that. But I mean, to be fair, well, we'll do Kane, Lukaku, but he does tend to come up north and sit in the pocket of our centre backs. But he's definitely improved this year. I think everybody can see that he's doing it on the big stage. But that's interesting, that stat you were on about before, because I was talking about this after the Liverpool game, and you're right. The last 10 games Mourinho's played against the top six, including some for Chelsea.
Chelsea, yeah.
5 0-0s. Where he's 5 points, and then he's lost the other 5s. But they're away from home. Last season we beat you 1-0. Okay. At home we beat Chelsea 2-0. I think we drew with Arsenal late, equaliser 1-1. Lost to City, and Liverpool we drew 0-0. So we don't concede many in the top 6 games. I'm going to go Manchester United 2-0. We'll do the predictions at the start. That's fine. I'm going to go Manchester United 2-0. I think it's respectful to say that to Spurs, because Spurs are the form team at the moment with City. You know, as I said before we went live, that I've seen a lot of Spurs this year. Very impressed by them, especially in the Bernabeu against Dortmund. Really good. I think Pochettino, the way he can set teams up, I'm quite slightly worried about United. I'll ask you actually, because I saw Spurs against Dortmund at Wembley, and it was like Spurs were the away side. And obviously at the Bernabeu, they were the away side. And everyone thinks of Spurs as a really good attacking side, which they are. But Pochettino's very clever in the games. Like, he could come to Old Trafford and just think, yeah, I'm going to hit you on the break. And he did that well in that Dortmund game. So how do you think Spurs will approach the game? Because we don't watch them week in, week out. Do you think they will come and have a go? Do you think he'll play more like that Dortmund-Madrid game?
It's interesting that you should touch on that, because yes, the Dortmund game was a huge bonus in the way that we could see how he could change it tactically, because as we saw, as you said, we do attack a lot, and we put a lot of pressure on the other teams, and this time we were the ones sitting back and soaking up the pressure, and it was lovely to see that we can do this and just hit them quickly on the counter attack. It will be interesting to see if, I think he might line up something like that, or those sort of tactics in mind against United. And I do know that, for example, personally, and I think I spoke to loads of Tottenham fans, he threw kind of a curveball with the lineup against Madrid. Not just Llorente up front, but in general, the whole feeling about it. So who knows? At this point, I said it in one of my, I think it was a Liverpool review, that the way, and even that one was a little bit surprising as well. So it's unexpected, which is good in the sense that no one else can predict it. And I'd rather he be unexpected than predictable, because there was a point at sometime last season where I could bang on get the starting 11 almost every game. And this time I have no idea, because sometimes a little bit of injury comes in. But in general, it's just he can just change it around, and it seems to be working really well. So yeah, I can expect something to happen. I have an idea of what I would put out based on the players who played midweek and stuff as starting 11, but I wouldn't be surprised if he changed it around.
Do you think he will play Llorente? I mean, that was very clever against Bernabeu at the Bernabeu, but it worked really, really well to play two big strikers effectively. I know he wasn't playing as a striker, but I wouldn't expect him to do that against United. There's a lot of space.
No. I don't think that's the sort of move he would make. I agree. He did the Llorente thing because Llorente has so much experience playing in Spain and playing at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. So that's why we signed him, to get that experience in, and that was brilliant the way he utilised that. I do agree. We won't play two strikers up front. That would make no sense. But yeah, he could still provide something interesting. But I still think we'll generally have the three at the back who have been, as I said, really good this season. Sanchez, who's a new signings, looks like he's played for us for years. He's so confident in the back four, and he played against United in the cup final last season, so he played really well there. So that's a big bonus for us.
Aurier as well was a player we were linked with. It's a funny game in a way, because Spurs dropped a lot of points because of adjusting to Wembley. I actually said it in the summer. We were talking about who was going to be the challengers, and I said, Spurs over the last couple of years, I know they've not won the title for a long time, but they for me, they were the best team last season. Chelsea just didn't have Europe. This year, I did say Spurs will challenge, but Wembley will be the problem. And you look like you're around that corner, but City are sort of far ahead. So Spurs have had the Wembley problem. I think United have had the October problem, the injuries. We've just seemed to have dipped terribly. I think it's a pivotal game for both teams. But from Manchester United's point of view, I think if we don't win at the weekend, I think we're going to struggle to get anywhere near City. I think we need to win. When you look at United, I mean, as I said at the start of the show, Pogba's back in training at Carrington today. Outside chance for me that he might be on the bench. I can't see him start. I think he's looking more at Chelsea. Fellaini's still out. Herrera, Rashford, there was worries about their injuries. They trained as well. Significantly, we struggled at the back last weekend with Lindelof coming on, but it looks like Bay's back and Phil Jones is back, and Smalling's done quite well. But United over the last three games, they've struggled. We've really struggled with that sort of number 10 that you've got, Eriksen and Ali, who can create things. We've really struggled. So I suspect, as I was going back to, I think Mourinho's going to approach this as a one-off game, a bit like Chelsea in April, where we picked a team that people really thought, how are we going to beat Chelsea? And then you had Herrera man-to-man marking Hazard, and it was just a one-off sort of cup final for United, and everything went right. And I just feel that something like that, it's either going to go one way or the other. We're going to get it really, really right. It's going to be a tactical masterclass, or we're going to continue like we have been for the last few games, and then we're in trouble. Totally honest, because you're a Spurs fan, what do you think about United? What do you fear about United, if anything? I mean, what is it that's holding you back that you think it's going to be a draw? Because there are United fans out there and a lot of neutrals who think, based on form, the way Spurs are doing, as I said, been to the Bernabeu, which is against a very good side, they've got a draw there. What have they got to fear of an out-of-form United side?
Mourinho, for example, as I said, his man management and his style, which I said that last year as well, I think, but I personally believe it doesn't really fit together with United. Oh, at least the United I knew growing up, but that's a separate issue, I guess. Their defence is good. I mean, you touched on Bailey. Jones has been good. Smalling's not bad. You've got Valencia on the right. Young on the left. De Gea, obviously. Yeah. You can't not mention him. Arguably one of the best keepers in the world. Obviously, I'll still support Lloris. But still, yeah. So the defence for me. And then again, if we're going to talk attack, then the pace of Rashford. Don't know whether you think Martial will play or not, but he's really pacey. Lukaku scoring goals up front. Yeah. We'll have to focus on him as well. So that's why I feel like tactically and the way the teams are, I know you said that your form's not been good recently. We are going to go away, but who knows if the Harry Kane thing, whatnot. It's putting that all together. I feel like it might cancel out. That's generally my feeling. That's it pretty much. So yeah.
Yeah, and also it's the whole it's the Saturday lunchtime kickoff thing, isn't it? That is, it can be a bit of a killer. Although both teams have played midweek, so they shouldn't be caught short. Okay, well, we're going to talk about Lukaku versus Kane in a minute, which I think is great, and we'll also talk about the season ahead for United. But I did warn Anna about this before. We do need to just touch on the Fan League. and just cover Anna up for a minute while I do it. Sorry about that, Anna. But the fan league the link is in the video description for this. And the way this works is basically to everybody who's signed up, there's a connect button at the bottom left. If you click on that connect button, you go to my leagues and your invitations, which you should have from me if you've signed up. You click on your invitations, you join the league from me. This is the United Stand League. As you can see, I've got to show you this. It's painful to show you, but I've got to show you how everybody's doing in the league. And top of the league at the moment, you've got Elkim Gwitty with an average of 9. Got 9 last week, and I have dropped right down. The United Stand, we're down to 19th place, but we have played 2 game weeks. And the way this works is it doesn't matter when you sign up, because as you can see, it's based on your average score. So Ekim's only played 1 week, whereas Angelo's played 3 weeks, and he's morally at the top, but he's not, because it's based on your average score. So if you sign up this week and you get 9, you could go top of the league. So how do you play? Link is in the video description. To play, all you need to do, and this is free, it's free for the first 2 games that you play, is you just have 13 games that is picked by Fan League, and you've just got to pick home, win or away. You don't have to pick the score. So QPR Wolverhampton, is it going to be a home win, an away win or a draw? You do that through all of them. You pick your 13, and if you get 10 right, you win a cash prize. It's normally around 30 quid. If you get 11 right, it's about 100 quid. If you get 13 right, it's about 3 grand. Free to play, link in the video description. As I say, as soon as you signed up, you'll go into our tree for the United Stand. We'll send you an invitation. You just need to go down to that connect bit there. And I think this is going to run all season. We're going to have a good bit of fun with it. Like I say, go down to the connect bit. You'll see your invitations in my leagues, and that'll automatically put you into the United Stand. Free to enter. You can win quite a bit of money for it. And you don't have to get the exact scores with this like on Super Brew. You just got to pick home, draw or away win for 13 results. If you get 10, you're in the money, and also you're probably going to be top of the United Stand League. So link in the video description, sign up to that. And we've done our score predictions, Anna, so I was going to come back into it and say what is your score prediction, but we've done that. You're going for a draw, I'm going United 2-0. But let's talk about Lukaku versus Kane. Obviously you're going to have your loyalty to Kane. It is interesting though, because they both pretty much for the last 2, maybe even 3 years scored a lot of goals in the Premier League. They've both, well, I've heard about Harry Kane, yeah, and they both sort of had it levelled them that they're big game bottlers because they don't do it in the big games, whether it's Europe or against the big sides. And I think this season, in relation to Harry Kane first, he's done it in the big games. We mentioned Dortmund, we mentioned Bernabeu. I know he didn't score it, but it was
he created it.
He's certainly, you know, England's always hard. You know, Rooney was terrible for England, Gerrard was terrible for England. It's hard for England, but he has gone up a level this season, and I think that's what's worrying a lot of United fans about the weekend, is that he doesn't normally turn up against us. I think his first goal against us was actually when you came on last time at that game at the end of the season. But he normally comes to Old Trafford and he's very quiet, and I think this season everyone's seen that he started it so well that he might actually come up and do something at Old Trafford. What do you think it is with him? Do you think it's just age, or do you think he's actually done something to his game over the summer?
Well, definitely maturity. I agree with that. And once August was out of the way, that September was amazing, and October's looked really good as well. I do know that he's always been a dedicated trainer, so he would stay way after training hours to practice his shooting, to get more fitness in there. And I know that Poch likes to manage all his players, whether they're defensive players or attacking players. He likes to go through statistics, doesn't show them, but he will break it down to them. And I know that I've read some articles where he was able to improve Kane even more to what he's done so far. And some of the awareness he has, and what I watched against Liverpool, for example, that not only did he went past 1 or 2 defenders, sometimes 3. And when he first broke through, obviously he had that really good season. He had one-on-one defenders. Okay, fine. Next season it came through. People knew about him. They put 2 defenders on him. But now it seems like he's got that strength to fight off sometimes even 3 players. That is the one that amazes me the most, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you have your thoughts on Lukaku, but just from a United fan's point of view, I think you know, it's World Cup year. I don't really follow England, but I will in the World Cup, and I really hope that people like him and Ali and Winks continue with the season they're sort of having, because they are pretty much, with Rashford I think as well, shining lights for England. And yeah, he's gone to a level which I I wouldn't say I didn't expect to, but he's definitely gone up a gear, and he needed to do it in the Champions League and against the bigger teams, and he's certainly doing it this season. I mean, Lukaku for us, I wouldn't swap Lukaku for Kane. I know some United fans would. I wouldn't swap Lukaku for Kane because I like the subtlety of Lukaku. I like, he's not. I don't think he's as clinical as Kane. I think you could give Kane a chance and he'd score it. I think Lukaku sometimes needs 2 or 3. I don't think he's a natural finisher, but what I do like about Lukaku is that he does score a lot of goals, but also, similar to what you've just said about Kane there, he's created so much space behind him for the number 10, who isn't playing very well at the moment, whoever it is. He pushes defences back, he's very physical, he's very quick, and last year we had Zlatan, who was very physical, but not very quick. And apart from these last 3 games, United were scoring a lot of goals and causing teams a lot of problems because Lukaku was creating so much space and pushing them back. So I've been very impressed with Lukaku. He's having a bit of a dip at the moment, but I don't really blame him for that. I just think we're just not creating enough chances. But yeah, I mean, I don't know whether you want to say anything about Lukaku, but your defence is very good. I mean, that's something we've not touched upon. Your defence, as much as it's attack-wise, your defence is also very strong as well.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on, is that I agree with Lukaku that he's probably not that clinical. He does create a lot of space. And you said that you guys scored a lot of goals early on this season, but you played against teams who arguably aren't in the top 6, obviously. Like they're not one of the better teams in the league. So you were a bit more adventurous, whilst against Liverpool, you were probably a little bit more tentative, to put it that way. And yes, our defense. I am on a United channel, so anyways, the point is that yes, our defense will be a lot more aware. Obviously, 2 of his Belgian teammates with Vertonghen and Alderweireld are there. We have, I mentioned Sanchez earlier, who played against United, not Lukaku per se, but he's also been, the way he's come into the team, as I said, I'm still really, really surprised because he's still 21, he's still young, but he's just adapted to everything so quickly. Dembele had 20 minutes against West Ham yesterday. So he's back, which would be really, really a big boost.
He's always good against United. We were talking about him last night on the show. Dembele, he's just he always does well against United, and he's got the whole lot. He's good at dribbling, he's good at tackling, he's quick. It's not good news if he plays.
And he's Belgian too, so he will know Lukaku. So it's these sort of little things, and that's why I think it will all cancel out to some extent. But it should, hopefully, it will be an exciting game for both sides. That's why I'm hoping to see that tactical, but in an exciting way, not just a sit-back way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think if next week Chelsea, maybe, I think Spurs are just a bit more expansive. And to be honest, if it wasn't at Old Trafford, I'd be more worried because I think at the moment Spurs are probably in 4th, 5th gear, and I think United for some reason have dropped down to 2nd or 3rd, and they're going to have to move up a gear. That's for sure. They're going to have to move up a gear, and they're going to have to get people around and the ball around Lukaku, because you just named, Sanchez, Alderweireld, Vertonghen. He can't deal with those 3 on his own. He needs a number 10 who's going to play with him, and we're struggling at the moment. Mkhitaryan's been poor. He won't play Mata there, and Lingard. 2 goals against the Swansea B team. You can do your little dance, but I don't think he's. I hope he proves me wrong, but I'd be worried if Lingard starts with that.
So who would you start then?
I would play Mata as a number 10. We are struggling for a number 10 at the moment. I would play Mata there. He won't do that. It will probably be Mkhitaryan, who did score against you last season. So, Mkhitaryan's not a bad player. He's just in bad form at the moment. And I would go Mkhitaryan over Lingard, but I would play Mata there if it was me. But I can guarantee you don't need to worry about that. Mourinho won't do it. So, the season in general, Spurs, like you said, Wembley, bit of a bad start. Chelsea beat you there, dropped points against Swansea and Burnley, I think. Coming good and strong now, same points as United, 5 points off Manchester City. Season in general, what are your thoughts? Where do you think Spurs are going to come this season?
Yeah, so if you would have asked me this question a few weeks ago, I would have felt much different about it. As you said, the Wembley form was questionable, but especially after that Liverpool performance, it seems like we are finally starting to find some sort of form there. But that being said, as you pointed out, the Burnley and the Swansea results, which were both really frustrating. The Burnley, we lost a 1-0 lead foolishly in the last few minutes, and Swansea, we just failed to score any. And same thing really a little bit with Chelsea, is that they will come and sit back, apart from Liverpool, who like to attack, and Dortmund and probably Madrid as well next week. teams will tend to come and just sit back and soak up our attacking force, and that will be the most frustrating part as a fan, obviously. That being said, as I said, we are looking a little bit better. So in that regard, I'm feeling confident. Our away form has been outstanding. We started off with a win against Newcastle 2-0, then we beat Everton 3-0, we beat West Ham 3-2, we beat Huddersfield 4-0.
No, don't say Huddersfield. Yeah, I know you did, yeah.
So that's just the league, and then we obviously went to Madrid, drew 1-1. We beat Apoel 3-0. So yeah, our away form's been looking rather good, surprisingly good. It's almost like our last season's White Hart Lane form swap places with our away form. So yeah.
So second to City, do you think? Is that what you're going for?
Well, right now with City, they're just scoring goals for fun. I think when you said that if you don't win, you won't catch up with City, I think your derby will be a key factor to that. You'll have to see when you guys go head to head. That will be, then you can say that, yes, if you win, then you've got a better chance, or if you lose, then fine, City are out of it.
But the problem is, and it's probably the same problem for yourselves, is that if we've got you and then we've got Chelsea, we're 5 points off. If we were to take 1 point from those, which it's not inconceivable if we drew at the weekend then lost at Chelsea, looking at City's games, I think we'd be double figures behind them by bonfire night, and then we've still got Arsenal to play before them. So by the time we get that derby, and I think Mourinho could win that derby, we might be like 13 points off them, in which case it's it wouldn't matter.
Then again, everyone wrote off Chelsea. Like, everyone thought Chelsea was going to easily win last season in January. I'm not saying that, okay, we made it tough for them. We caught up quite well. They still won in the end of the day, but we made it a bit more interesting. Stop any other comments about that. But the point is that you can say, and last season everyone was like, yes, United, City, all over the place, and then Chelsea came through because they had no European football. But that's the point. I think whilst there are a lot of indicators which you can take from this form, we've had quite a few games now, I still think it's relatively early to tell at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I predicted United are going to win the league, so I've got to stick by it. But that's because Mourinho wins the title in his first 2 years. I think he's got his work cut out. But having said that, I think you've mentioned a lot of points Spurs dropped there. I still moan about Stoke away and Huddersfield last week. I don't know what went wrong. That would be the 5 points that would put us level with City. So City's bubble will burst, but whether it's Spurs, United, I don't think anyone else is going to get near them, to be honest. I think it will be Spurs or United or both. City's bubble will burst. It's just how far ahead they are when that bubble bursts. If it can be kept 5, 6 or less points, then they'll feel the pressure because they are a bunch of mercenaries at City. But it's whether, it's not the games, the fixtures are what they are. But with City away to West Brom, they'll win that, and us two playing each other, a draw is probably the result they will want, to be fair.
Oh, definitely. That's definitely what they want, because either of us winning will just make one of them get closer to them. So yeah, they want us to draw so we can both stay equally far from them. Yeah,
well, fantastic to have you on the show, Anna. I would say good luck on Saturday, but that would be lying, as I'm sure you would say the same. But let us know, for everybody who doesn't know who you are, obviously you've got your own YouTube channel.
Yes, it's called Spurs XY, so you can search it on YouTube.
And I say that because although we're a United fan channel, I know there's a lot of fans who tune in who aren't United fans. So if you are, and we do have a few Spurs fans on as well. They come on and try and troll. But to be honest, I've been very positive about Spurs because I've watched them a lot this year, and they're quite an inoffensive side, apart from on Saturday when I hope we beat you. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks to Anna for coming on, and do drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed the show. Back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, and obviously we've got the watch along for the game at the weekend. Get comments below, give us your thoughts. We covered a lot of things. Kane versus Lukaku, who will finish higher, what's the threats in relation to United and Spurs, and obviously your score predictions. Get commenting below, and thanks for coming on, Anna.
Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. Speak to you all later.